I would like to say that I am not bitter about this. I am in fact deeply bitter about this. Get stuck in the reread spiral. Oh, another one. Bye, Mary. Hat! Just when I thought orange-coloured freedom was coming on the horizon, instead we have been subjected to another wave. And so I guess the only appropriate thing to serve you guys on this scalding hot day is some scalding hot tea. Might be a heat wave outside, but it's a truth wave inside, am I right? I hope you're ready because it's series tracker update time, my friend. And welcome back to another video, or more like the video. Welcome back to the video that everybody has been asking for consistently for quite a few weeks now. Don't worry my little poppets, your wait is over. I have heard your pleas, your screams into the void for more torture, and as always Mummy Win is here to provide. If you are new to my channel and you have never seen any of my series update spreadsheets, then do I have an odyssey for you, a veritable back catalogue of despair. I shall leave the other two iterations in this series down below, along with my 2023, 24 and quarterly 25 stats videos to give you the full picture of how we got here. Because you see, 2023 was the first year that I was actually able to create and maintain my very own reading tracker spreadsheet. It is where I put everything that I'm buying, everything that I am reading, and all of the series that I'm in the middle of. And I track lots of different little pesky numbers to give you a lot of happy joy and me a lot of tears. And so we are back some 7 or 8-ish months, I guess, after the last version of this video was published. But before I drop down into my tiny little box in the corner of the screen and show you all of my shame in Technicolor, I would first like to introduce you to the sponsors of today's video, Serious Readers. Ah, Serious Readers, my partner in crime. Are you, like me, somebody who likes to read into the little hours of the night? Are you a neurodivergent night owl? Are you, like me, shriveling up in the actual daylight? If any of these things describe you, then maybe Serious Readers is the thing that you have been lacking in your life. Length technology, which accurately mimics for your eyeballs the exact spectrum of the sunlight outside. In short, while it might be the depths of winter, your brain is sitting there going, "This is my island in the sun." Hey! That is a niche reference, only the elite will get that. And I know what you're thinking, when I don't like summer, I don't want to sit in bright sunlight. And to that I have two things to say, and the first is tough, your eyeballs do. But also I say it's not really honestly like sitting on a tropical island, it's more like sitting under your very own soft sunbeam. And it's tricking your eyeballs and your cats into thinking that you are sitting in the best lighting that you've ever had in your life. And on top of being technically the very best reading lights on the market, they are also as stylish. And no matter what your personal decorating taste or style may be, there is a Serious Readers finish. And on top of being technically the very best reading lights on the market, they are also as stylish. And no matter what your personal decorating taste or style may be, there is a Serious Readers finish just for you. Serious lights are fully customizable, from the colour of the base to the type of handle to the finish that you get on the extendable head. So you're guaranteed to get something that your eyes love on all levels. If you too would like to invest in a serious light for the seriously beautiful autumn that we have coming, then you can use my code here on screen, WIN, that's WINN, to get 150 whole human pounds off of a serious light and free UK delivery. Alrighty then. Oh, and before we start, my usual caveats about this video apply. It is very hot here today, so I do have the fan on, and it may at some point sound like my laptop is trying to take off and become part of NASA's space program. It's good to have ambitions and aspirations, but everything is fine. It is only because I am asking it to record both my fear and also my shame at the same time. Alright, welcome my friends to my series tracker spreadsheet. If you have never seen this very colourful document before, then I shall quickly take you through it so that we are all familiar with the things that we are going to use. First up, up, you will see along the top here we have got a key with various different colours and categories. We have series complete, series ongoing, series DNF, series not started, series complete published, which means that I have read up to the last published book in that series, but there are more down the line, and effectively it's not my fault that it's not done yet. And finally, book not yet published. And then up the top here you will see that we have 3 categories for the actual book side of the spreadsheet, which is read, DNF or unread. Now I have not yet filtered my spreadsheet, which is something that I usually do before I show you guys it at all, but I wanted to give you a very honest and realistic look at how it looks before we dive in. The only thing that I have done to this spreadsheet since the last time that we updated it is to add in a bunch of new series that I have started to the very bottom. Haven't even color coded them. We are going to encounter them as white rows in this spreadsheet when we get to them. But usually when you see the spreadsheet, I have taken out all of these series not started entries already. But I just wanted to give you a very brief, very honest snapshot of just how many series here in yellow you can see that I haven't actually started, and that I often own the first or maybe the first and second books in that series. And yeah, there you go at the bottom, there's a bunch of series in white that we're gonna have to deal with today. I wanted to show you this part this time, both because I get questions about it a lot, and also because I want to be held as accountable as I possibly can be by these videos. It's one of those like the only person that you're cheating is yourself moments, and I need you guys to know that although these are the series that we're currently working with, if I was to pick up any of those series on my shelves, and I'm specifically waving frantically at the fantasy shelf that's behind me right now, I could potentially add another 4, 5 or 6 book series to this spreadsheet just as quick as that, which is why I think it's so important to have a big eagle eye view of all of the different books that I have on the go, so that I can honestly choose to prioritize my reading time. Alright, so let us get started. What we're going to do is we are going to select some different categories from the status drop down box on our spreadsheet. So specifically we want blanks, which are perhaps series that I have put in some details but not all of them, and we want series complete published because we want to check if there are any new books in any of the series, which I was like very smug that I had completed off and didn't need to worry about anymore. And then we are also going to grab series ongoing. So those are the series that you and I both know I have been working on for a while. Now any new series that I have popped on here, I have tried my best to make sure I marked it as series ongoing, so that should get picked up by this filter. That takes us down to 53 series. So according to my spreadsheet, there are 53 series here which could potentially be ongoing series. Let's start with the very first entry on this spreadsheet. This is the Red Rising saga by Pierce Brown. I think the last time around that I showed you this spreadsheet, I was still reading Dark Age. This series is definitely one of my absolute favourite series in the world. You guys know I picked it up 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. Hazy, but what feels like not that long ago. I absolutely fell in love with it. I raced through the first 4 books in the series lickety split, but then I came to book 5 and I had the fear because Dark Age do be dark. It really do be dark. But I can now tell you that it is definitely finished, so we can mark this book here as read. That's amazing, good for me. But I have not carried on to Lightbringer, and again, as we can see here, we have the title of book 7, which is Red God, but it is not yet available. I can't honestly tell you whether I am going to read Lightbringer before Red God comes out, or whether I am going to end up in a series reread of this to sort of like mash right into Red God's release. And while I know that a few of you are screaming at me, no, just read Lightbringer now, you'll get stuck in the reread spiral, I do think that low-key that is the plan that my brain has, so we'll just have to see whether we can, I don't know, persuade it or massage it out of that, who knows. Alright, next up we have got the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies series. As you can see from the spreadsheet, we have book 1 here, which I read and absolutely loved, and we also have book 2. However, we now have Emily Wilde's compendium of lost tales, I think, also to contend with, which came out, I think, around about my birthday, so somewhere end of February, early March. Now, I have, since our last update, read the second book in the series, Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, and I enjoyed it. But did I enjoy it as much as the first book in the series? No, I did not. And of course, it is ostensibly fantasy romance, so it is not one of my big priority genres, which I think is one of the reasons why I've just ummed and ahed consistently over whether I was going to pick up this last book or not. And let's be perfectly real, the last book is absolutely beautiful, and there's a part of me that's just like, oh, you could get it, put it on your shelves. And the whole purpose of this spreadsheet is not just like rank accountability. It's not just here to hit me over the head. It's also here to help me be completely honest with myself when I look at it and go, is this a priority or not? So I think it is with a heavy heart that I am going to mark this as a series DNF, and I don't think that I am going to be going on any further with Emily Wilde unless it's somehow the last book lands in my lap like a second-hand shop or something like that. Alright, next up we have got The Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. The last time that we looked at this series, I had it marked as complete all the way up until the last book. And I really debated with myself when I started the Fits Along, which is a complete read-along of all of the Realm of the Elderlings books, whether I was going to add this back to my spreadsheet as like an ongoing series to help to keep myself motivated, or whether that was just going to demotivate me completely. And the answer, quite honestly, is it did a bit of both. Now, unfortunately, we are quite behind in the live shows for this book club, although I know that most of you have continued, like me, to read on to where we should be. And hopefully we can have a big catch-up live show soon where we can all talk about our favourite characters and such. But in the meantime, let's update this. So I have now read the companion novel, The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince, and while it is here in like the book 1 slot, because that's technically where it falls in the Realm of the Elderlings, it's not where it falls in the reading order. So I have also read Royal Assassin, we have done Assassin's Quest, we have done Ship of Magic, The Inheritance, Mad Ship, Ship of Destiny, Fool's Errand, and now we are on to Golden Fool, which I am currently in the middle of myself. Ooh, okay, next up we have got a series in white. So this is a series that I have added to the spreadsheet since the last time that we looked at it. This is a middle grade series that I picked up right at the start of this year. It has been on my shelf for such a long time and I absolutely freaking loved it. I thought the first book was amazing. I definitely am going to continue on with the rest of the series, particularly because I own all of them in these really stunning editions. However, I think that we need to take ourselves to Goodreads because I have a strong suspicion that there was a follow-up set of books which was just very recently released, which goes with these original books. They're like companion books, which we now need to add. There are, okay, what is this? Alright, it is called The Colour of Revenge, so we're gonna add that one in. Now, although we are adding this in book 4 of the series, it does look like it can be read independently from the rest of it. So if I do get up to like Ink Death and I'm like, I'm okay, I don't need any more of the series, I won't feel too bad about it. Next up, we have got Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I told you guys the last time that I did this video with you that I had read all of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, but I had not read the last 2 books, I think, in the Heroes of Olympus, but that I definitely wanted to complete it because there are obviously new books coming out in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, one of which I already have on my shelves. So I did start back this series last time around with The Lightning Thief, and I can now tell you that I have read book 2, 3 and 4, and that I am nearing the 5th book in the series so that I can continue on. So that does mean, of course, that the row underneath it, the Heroes of Olympus, is not getting any kind of attention right now. We're just gonna move right on by. Now, next up we have the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor. This is another one of those that I got an impulse to do a nostalgic reread of, but for some reason I always get stuck mid the 3rd book and never ever continue. And I want to say that this one went on my spreadsheet last time around as a series that I was definitely committing to rereading. I feel like I marked Daughter of Smoke and Bone as read and I was going on to Days of Blood and Starlight with a sort of like soon attached to it. Soon was not soon. I did in fact start Days of Blood and Starlight last year, I believe, towards the end of last year, but I have only just finished it. So in preparation for this video, I did kind of have a quick flick through some of the series that I could get some easy wins from, and that was definitely one of them. Of course, I had all good intentions of actually completing the series off before we got here for this video, but I was pipped at the post. So I still have Dreams of Dreams of Gods and Monsters. Dreams of Goods and Monsters, apparently. Still to complete. Next up, we've got the Memoirs of Lady Trent series. Now, if I remember correctly, the last time that I mentioned this one on my series tracker, I was rereading it with lovely spouse Harry with the intention of carrying on through to Turning Darkness into Light, which was a paperback companion release after the series finished, but we have not touched this series, and to be perfectly honest, I would be okay personally with just marking it as like complete and waiting until that urge to do like a deep dive series reread comes over me again. But as I was reading this with lovely spouse Harry, I will leave it here until I have consulted with him because he might have other opinions on it. Next, Song of Ice and Fire. We have hit my first series complete as published, and are we shocked that we have not yet received the Winds of Winter? No. Are we going to in George R.R. Martin or our lifetime? Probably not. I would like to say that I am not bitter about this, but I am in fact deeply bitter about this, and I will continue to be every time it pops up on my spreadsheet video. Ooh, I already want to like pat myself on the back for this one. Next up, we have got the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden, and I am so happy to say that not even in preparation for this video, but completely independently of the dread of filming this and not having made any kind of inroads to it, I have read The Girl in the Tower and The Winter of the Witch, and that is now series complete. Can you believe it? This is quite early on in the spreadsheet to get a series complete. I'm quite shocked that there is one this early on. I thought it was going to take a little while, but no. Oh, although technically the next one that we've got, The Burning Kingdoms by Tasha Suri, I read The Jasmine Throne, and as you guys know, I absolutely adored it. It was a great book. I fell in love with the characters, but I was really, really disappointed by the Oleander Sword, like really disappointed. I did read it, so I am going to mark it off, and of course The Lotus Empire is now out and available, which means as I choose the correct colour for it, this is going to be a series DNF for me. I will not be carrying on with this one. Ooh, as is the next series. So this is the Fortuna Sworn series by KJ Sutton. I want to say the first 2 books on my Kindle, and I finally got around to testing out the first book in this series to see if it works for me. You guys know, even though it is probably a lost cause, I am very much trying to find a type of romance that does work for me, because I do want to be kicking my little feet. And that's actually why I thought Fortuna Sworn would work for me, but unfortunately it didn't. It was just a little bit too, I'm gonna say for me, a little bit too overly dramatically written, leaning on the kind of like gasp of it all, and it just didn't work for me. No shade whatsoever if this series did work for you and you absolutely do love it. It's just that it is not one that was ever going to end up on a priority list for me, so Bye bye. Alright, next up we have got the Lower Olympus series by Rachel Smythe. Now, I have got this as series complete as of published, but it is now no longer the case. This is back to being a series ongoing for me because I am behind in my reading of these books. I do in fact have volume 6. Do I have 7? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do also have volume 7 on my shelves, and I believe that volume 8 is already out. I feel like there's one volume in this series I haven't picked up yet. Let's look together. I am still maintaining my Goodreads account alongside my Storygraph account. It's taking my brain a long time to get used to the Storygraph way of like browsing, and really honestly it's just a bad habit in me that I continue to go to Goodreads because it has been the site that I've gone to for years and years and years, so I just kind of default to it. I don't enjoy Storygraph's layout very much, even though I enjoy a lot of the functions that they have added, so I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place with that. Okay, yes, so volume 8 is out, that has already been published, and volume 9 is coming later on this year. I am definitely behind in reading this series, which is a little bit alarming to me because these are quite quick, quite like fun graphic novels that I generally race through, but for some reason I just haven't been picking them up. And the thing for me again about this spreadsheet is I'm also trying to sort of look at the places where I am spending money and I don't need to be. For example, I was continuing to collect all of the Mercy Thompson series, which I'm sure that we will see later on in this spreadsheet, without actually reading any of the newer volumes of the series. And so I was just like spending money on those hardbacks for them to sit and look pretty on the bottom of my shelves, which is totally fine, except that I know myself, and in most long series at some point I do tap out. I do usually find a point where I'm like, nah, that's okay for me, I don't really want to go to the end. And so the same applies here. I don't want to be continuing to spend money on these big, expensive, and also like large space taking graphic novel volumes if I'm not keeping up with them and if I'm not still really excited about them. So I think my priority needs to be reading the other 2 volumes that I have and deciding whether I want to pick up volume 8 or not before volume 9 comes out. Alright, next up we have got the Aveline Jones series by Phil Hicks. This is a middle grade horror series which I absolutely live for. I really loved The Haunting of Aveline Jones. The Bewitching of Aveline Jones was good. Not as good as the first book, but it was still good. However, because I knew that I was doing the spreadsheet and because I was working on easy wins, I have finally read this month, in fact, The Vanishing of Aveline Jones. And just for the record, I gave it 4 stars. I think it was very much a back up to the form of the first one in this series, and I thought it was great. But it doesn't look like Phil Hicks is going to be writing any more books in this series. He has started a new series which I have picked up the first book of. It's downstairs on my shelves. It is a YA horror rather than a middle grade horror, I believe. And as sad as I am about that, I am also happy that it is another series complete. Oofty! Okay, the next one that we have here is HMRC by Juno Dawson. I had a big rant about this in my last series tracker video. I remember it because at the time we had just been told that instead of getting Human Rights, the 3rd book in this series, we were instead getting Queen Bee. And since then I did pick up Queen Bee. It did exist on my shelves for a short amount of time. However, I then went on and read The Shadow Cabinet and I freaking hated it. I absolutely hated the entire reading experience. I hated where the plot went. I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't believe again in any of their choices, and I felt like I was getting 90s nostalgia piped down my throat without any kind of saying whether I was enjoying it or not. It was just kind of like, you should be enjoying this, and I wasn't. So this is a series DNF for me. I'm not sad about it. I am actually really glad to see the back of it, and I have already rehomed all of the hardback books in this series to one of my lovely friends. Oh, another one! We've reached another one! I am so pleased with how well this spreadsheet is going so far. In my head, not gonna lie guys, in my head I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about a few series in particular in which I was like, I haven't touched that and you said you were gonna touch it. And I know that those will be coming up at some point in this, but I did not expect to have so many wins early on, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of delighted. The next one on this list is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I had stalled, as I do with a lot of my favourite series, with reading the final book. Now, when it comes to this series, I will now say that my opinion is that reading the last book in this should be optional. Did I think that it was a good way to end the series? No. Did I think that one of the characters in this series just decided that they were a completely different person all of a sudden and we were reading a completely different series? Yes. Did I also have an issue with the sidelining of one of the other characters who had been such a big part of this series up until the last book? Yes. So it's not a fail as far as I'm concerned. I am still utterly delighted that I have finished this series, and I will reread it, even including that last book, even though it wasn't perfect for me. Okay, next up we have got The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This is one of Lovely Spouse Harry's favourite series in the world. He really enjoys it. Just the sense of humour works for him. And as a result, this is one of the few series that I had ended up breaking my own rule about owning all off on my shelves before I read it, because I was pretty convinced, given that the things that Harry had told me about it, that I was also going to love it. But unfortunately, the thing that got in the way was Richard Osman. I really don't enjoy his humour as a comedian, and I don't really enjoy watching him in like guest appearances on things. He's just not somebody whose humour meshes with mine, and I could really hear him when I was reading this series, like really intensely, in this omniscient narrator who was always kind of omnipresent and being like, oh, did you get that joke? Did you see that? That was really good, that thing that I did there, right? Which I actually find is the way that I react to his comedy as well. So unfortunately this one was a series DNF for me. If you love it, don't worry, it's allowed to not be a series DNF for you. Okay, the next two series that we have here, the Truly Devious series and the Philip Marlowe series, are both series that I can tell you unequivocally right now that I have made absolutely no inroads on. One of the things that I have worked out about the Philip Marlowe series in particular is that I think I am going to have to go back to the start of it, because while it can all be read independently of each other, there is a through line that I feel like I've kind of lost the joy of this series a little bit. And there are quite a few books left to go. There's like 4 books left to go, and then a short story series. Though I am really trying my absolute hardest to not get stuck in this cycle of restarting a series in order to continue it on, sometimes I do think that has to happen in order for you to find the joy in it again, you know? So this is a series that I think I'm gonna have to evaluate later on. That being said, the Truly Devious series, there's absolutely no excuse why I haven't read the last 2 books that have been released in this series. There's no reason for it other than I just haven't, and I needed to try and make that a priority too, because look, it's only 2 young adult mysteries. They read so fast. That would again be a really easy win. So yeah, that's another one along with Lore Olympus that I feel like I need to put on a priority list and see if I can get knocked off in the coming weeks before the end of the year. Next up, what is perhaps my biggest accomplishment of this spreadsheet, we have got the Miss Marple series by Agatha Christie, which I had, as you can see here, the last 2 books left to read. I had Nemesis and Sleeping Murder left, and then I have a book of Miss Marple's final cases, which I am currently reading right now. So I am going to very sadly, but also very happily, I guess, mark this entire series off as complete. There's a part of me that is just so sad to let it go. It's so sad it's not going to be on the spreadsheet anymore. This is such a silly thing to get emotional about. This series just feels like it's been with me for a really long time now, and the reason I hadn't finished it is the same reason that I don't finish a lot of series that I adore. It's because I don't want there to be no more new books in it. And I know that there have been continuations of both Marple and Poirot with independent authors, but I have tried both of them and I hate them. Ironically, I feel like maybe Theodora Goss could do it. I feel like the way that Theodora Goss took Sherlock in the Athena Club series and really made me believe in him in a completely different setting was genius, and I feel like maybe Theodora Goss could do it, but there are very few other authors who I think I would trust with it. Giving me my praise for praise is due. I have completed off Miss Marple, which was such a, I don't know, how many books is that? Oh, we overshot massively. There are 15 books, a 15-book series finally done and off my shelves. Well, that self-congratulations lasted approximately 2 more series worth, because I have not touched the Diviners or the Alex Stern series, or in fact the Wayfarers series either. Each of these series here have had nothing done to them, nothing touched, which is just a bit naff, but there you go. I haven't made any progress on with those. Now, the Illuminae files. I'm not surprised that I reread Illuminae and Gemina and I didn't go on to read Obsidio and Memento because Obsidio is my least favourite of the 3 books. That being said, this series is one of my favourite series in the entire world, and I'm now like, let us look at when exactly I stopped reading Gemina. February 2024. Okay, so I'm gonna just do myself a solid and I'm gonna mark this back as series complete, because I have in fact read all of these books, and we're just gonna say that that is back to being series complete because I can start a reread of this again at any point that I like, and for some reason this feels like it might be a winter reread for me if I do end up picking it up again. Now, that being said, we know that the Illuminae Files is one of my favourite series in the entire world and I will never shut up about it. However, the Aurora Cycle is not one of my favourite series in the entire world. I feel like it's a poor second cousin of the Illuminae Files. I can see exactly what Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff were trying to do and how they were recapturing the magic. The characters are amazing. I love the characters, but the plot is doing absolutely nothing for me, and it's been such a long time since I touched this, and I don't think I want to reread Aurora Rising or Aurora Burning to get to Aurora's End. Yeah, I'm doing it. Okay, I think that this is a series DNF, and maybe there will be the impulse at some point in the future to pick it back up because I do have it right here on my shelves and I'm not going to unhaul them. So maybe. Dokily, let's move on to the next one. Ooh. I forgot this series existed, not gonna lie. I forgot this series existed and I don't really know what to do about it. This is the Morning Glory series by Nick Spencer. This is a graphic novel series which is kind of like horror, sci-fi, surrealism all together with a kind of like back and forth time travel plot. It's really difficult to describe. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I have all of these left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them left, and I have read 5. I haven't done anything with this series since then. This is the problem with this spreadsheet. This is when it starts to become really difficult, because am I going to unhaul these books? No, I'm not. I have the graphic novels on my shelf. I'm not going to unhaul them. But do I only film these videos on days when the garbage men come? Do I have a psychic link with the bin lorry and all of the series that I should... Are you telling me, sir, that I should get rid of this series? Is this a sign? You know what? I stand the bin men. They know what they're about. I am going to series DNF this, or am I? Okay, alright. I'm gonna do... Right. I'm gonna do an in-betweeny thing. I am not gonna series DNF it because there's a good chance that at some point in the future my brain will just kick in and be like, we're gonna reread that graphic novel series. I'm going to series complete it. And I have done this with a few other series where I have got far enough through that I'm like, I'm good, I don't need any more, I'm happy with what I've read in this series, but I don't want to mark it as a DNF because like I just am not continuing on with it. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to mark it as a series complete in the same way that I did for instance the Rivers of London series. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to say that I'm going to be done with it, because the whole point of this spreadsheet is to prioritize things, is to help me to prioritize what I want to do, and that doesn't work if I just keep loads of entries on it that I am never planning on carrying on with, or that I don't have an immediate like impulse to carry on with. So maybe the next series on this list would be the same kind of situation. This is the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs. I have been reading this for years. As you can see, I have read a lot of books in this series. However, I have up to Winter Lost. I have this one on my shelves now, so I can mark that as unread. There will be another one here. I'm not even going to bother looking on Goodreads to find out what it is or like what happens in it, because I know that it exists. I haven't made this series a priority for a really long time, and if I'm very, very honest, I have kind of forgotten where we've got to. I'm sure that I could easily jump back in. I'm sure it would be a case where I would pick up the book and I would be like, oh yeah, that happened, and then this character and this. We're going to leave that right now as series ongoing, because I don't have to, it's my spreadsheet, I don't have to make big adult decisions if I don't want to, but really I don't honestly know how I feel about this one, so we're just going to leave that. Next up we have got The Bone Season. I was talking about this to somebody the other day, and I had mentioned that the reason that I had re-added this as like currently reading to my series tracker spreadsheet is because I was planning on doing a reread of the series with the author's preferred editions for the new book coming out. We have the new book in this series, The Dark Mirror, but I am going to leave this one, oops, I'm not going to delete books from it, just for my convenience, less books. I'm going to leave this one as being a reread that I have started, because I do want to prioritize that, and I might even do a little like series vlog if that's something that you guys would be interested in. However, the next series here is also a Samantha Shannon series, and it is A Day of Fallen Night, the Roots of Chaos series, which we now have a third book in, which is Among the Burning Flowers, I think. I unfortunately tried and DNF'd A Day of Fallen Night, and I think I need to be honest with myself and just say that as much as I love Priory of the Orange Tree, I absolutely adore it. This series for me feels very like historical passion project, a historical chronicle of real world events rather than a fantasy book, in my opinion. And it's sad to me because obviously when you do have favourite authors you want everything to work for you, but the same happened for me with Jonathan Stroud. I adore Lockwood & Co. You guys know that it's maybe one of my top 5 series ever. Fortunately for me, the most recent series that he brought out was awful. I hated it, and I ranted about it when I was doing this last video because I marked it off. Was like, it doesn't have the same joy, it's just not the same person I knew. The reality is, for me, the Roots of Chaos series just doesn't have what I love about Samantha Shannon's writing, and I am going to stop picking up books in it, as stunning as the editions are. Oh, okay, so we're getting towards the end of the spreadsheet in terms of the end of the existing spreadsheet here. I'm seeing much more white going on at the bottom. The next series that we've got is the Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire. I find that this is a problem series for me. I've talked to you guys about it in the last 2 spreadsheet videos as well, because what tends to happen is my brain goes, oh, they're just novellas, just reread the series every time a new one comes out. But the problem with that is that if you put enough novellas together, they become 2 actually big stonking books, just full actual novels, no Ella about it at all. I have read up to Come Tumbling Down. I have Across the Glass Fields on my shelf. What else do I have? I have up to book 9 of this on my shelf. So I have up to Mislaid in Parts Half Known on my shelf. And then let's look at Goodreads to find out the next title in this series, because I don't remember what it was, even though I read it not that long ago. Where are we? Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear and Through Gates of Garnet and Gold. So I am very excited for Gates of Garnet and Gold because we are returning to my favourite character, Nancy. But that being said, the reason that I haven't progressed on with this series so far is quite simply because I haven't let myself reread it. If I'm just like completely honest with you guys and myself, the reason that this series worked for me every time a new book came out was because I let myself then go back to the start and read through and read the next book. And when it came to Across the Glass Field, I got to the point where I was like, you need to stop this one. Like, you cannot keep rereading 5, 6, 7, 8 books in a series every time a new one comes out. But who said? This is reminding me of that line in Killing Eve where she's like, I hate breakfast food, it's all eggs, who decided? And that's how I feel about this one. Like, I know realistically that continuing to reread this series from the start every time a new book comes out in it is not practical or smart. Like, I know that. And yet, do I still want to do it? Yeah. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to do. Vote in the comments, I guess. Hello? Are you okay there? I'll tell you though, I will not be doing it with the Green Creek Saga by TJ Klune. And it is actually the Green Creek Saga, so let's put the title in correctly. I don't know what I'm doing with this series. I don't know whether I want to put it on that list with Lore Olympus, where I prioritise reading through to the end because it's only 2 books, or whether I'm done. They all exist on my shelves, I own them, so it's not like I need to expend any particular effort to get to them. However, there is no part of me that's like compelled. This is what the problem is with me and TJ Klune. Sometimes I really love, like really adore his books, and other times I'm just like, nah. And that's what I felt at the end of Ravensong. I loved Wolfsong, but at the end of Ravensong I was just kind of like, meh. And the thing is, at the time I remember saying, oh, I'm enjoying this little werewolfy no brain series, it's nice for me, I'm having a good time, I'm gonna finish it, it's not the best thing I've ever read but I'm gonna finish it. And now I'm like, am I gonna finish it? I don't know. Okay, I think this one gets a reprieve. This one gets a reprieve because I can't decide, because I am indecisive. Just like McNabb, who can't decide whether he wants attention to hit me or to eat my plant. You're a very nice interlude in between all of the data sets. Are you a battery pack? You're gonna fall. Don't hit me, that wasn't my fault. The next series on this list is a very quick no from me. I owned book 1 of this series, I tried it, and I freaking hated it. I read it, but I freaking hated it. It was so bad. It was not at all does what it says on the tin, and I quickly got rid of it and don't have any kind of regret over that. Have we not talked about this series? Maybe it's just in tops and bottoms. Maybe the last time I looked at this series tracker spreadsheet I hadn't been angry at this series yet. I am shooketh, because this is a big fat meh for me. I hated the final strife. I do not understand what everybody's joy is about this series. It was the same set of bad behaviours perpetuated by the same character again and again and again throughout this whole book, in which they learnt nothing. There was fat phobia in there. There was a reveal in there right at the start which was supposed to be like, oh, this person! And our main character was kind of like, cool. I'm not even going to look up, just for my records, what the third one in this series was called, because I don't care. Bye, Mary. Oh, next up we've got The Raven Boys by Maggie Steva, are a series that you absolutely know that is still ongoing for me and that I'm obsessed with. All the good things. The next series that is on here is a new series that I added on because I tried the first book on it, which is Hooked. and I DNF'd it. Where is my DNF colour? I DNF'd it and I DNF'd the series immediately. Oh, okay, and the next one that we have here is also a series DNF. This is the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I did not enjoy the second book in this series, which I have read, and I won't be reading the Atlas Complex. That simple. Didn't work for me. I have been very up and down with Olivia Blake's writing. I find that all of her premises are absolutely amazing, but sometimes she just doesn't deliver on them, and this for me was that case. The series just kind of went off a cliff and I was like, I'm good. Next up, we have a series that we know that I did not hate. This is the Hierarchy series by James Islington. The Will of the Many was one of my absolute favourite books last year, and we know that The Strength of the Few is coming out very, very soon. So this will be a series that I am prioritising as soon as that comes out. Oh, and another one right behind that I absolutely love. This is the Bless Your Heart series by Lindy Ryan. I do hope that they give the entire series like an overarching series name that isn't just Bless Your Heart. We have got Bless Your Heart. I have got Another Fine Mess on its way to me. This is definitely an ongoing series which I absolutely adore. I'm so excited to carry on with that. It's not the right colour again. Get it together, one! The next one up, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This was atrocious. This was one of the worst thrillers that I have read in the last few years. Not it. It was not it. The writing was not it. Oh, unlike the next one, there was nothing wrong with the writing of this one. In fact, I absolutely really enjoyed the writing style of it, but the actual story itself didn't really do anything for me. The retelling portion didn't really do anything for me. Next up we have got The Queen's Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. Now, I reread the first two books in this for a read-along that I was participating in, which I sadly had to drop out of. Although I have all of the originals of this on Kindle, I only picked up, I think, the first two again in the re-released paperbacks on my shelf. And although I loved them, I really did, when I read The Queen of Atolia, there were some bits in it that I didn't really remember that were not problematic things necessarily, just things that with a modern eye looking back on it, I don't know if I enjoyed. And so I think I am going to once again mark this as series complete for me. It was a completed series before I started the reread, and I think I'm just gonna say that I'm done. I definitely have read the original books in the series. I haven't read Thick as Thieves, which is the newest one, and I'll keep that as like unread. But yeah, I'm not gonna carry on with that. Oh, okay, next we've got the Sarah's Scribbles series by Sarah Anderson. This is one of the Instagram 4-panel comics that I love the most. I do collect quite a lot of my favourite Instagram comics as bind-ups. I think they're really, really nice to dip into when you are having a sad day. And if you haven't checked out this series yet and you are anywhere between the ages, I would say, of like 28 and 40, I think this series would really, really appeal to you. And I have indeed finished this series. At least, I think I'm going to say series complete is published, because I assume that Sarah Anderson will continue to bring out books of bind-ups of the series as we go on. Oh, the next one up. Oh. The next one up is the Mayfair Witches series by Anne Rice. I read the Witching Hour last month, the month before, I can't remember now. And look, I knew what I was getting when I was going into it. Like, I knew what I was setting myself up for. Anne Rice is very much an author that I am overly familiar with, and that I have read all of the Vampires Chronicles series, and I was curious about this series. That's the reason that I picked it up. I wanted the gothic, witchy New Orleans-ness of it. I wanted the family with like a complicated family tree, but I just didn't know how complicated this was going to end up being for me, because I loved huge bits of this book from the horror aspect of it and absolutely loathed any of the romance in it, and one of the main characters, Michael, like absolutely loathed. So I don't know what I'm doing with this series right now. The next series, however, that we have is the Saint of Steel series by T. Kingfisher. This is a fantasy romance series that is working for me. I am delighted to say I have read Paladin's Grace, I am in the middle of Paladin's Strength, and I am very much having a great time and genuinely am kicking my little feet. However, I think that's less because it's fantasy romance and more because it's T. Kingfisher. Next up, an interesting series. This is the D.I. Calanas series by Helen Fields. I owned the first 3 books maybe in this ages and ages ago, and I ended up unhauling them. And then one of my lovely friends would not stop talking about how good the audiobooks were because the actor does all of the voices. I had a great time. It definitely helped with my reading slump, and while I really loved the setting of Edinburgh, because again it was one of those where it was a very honest representation of the Edinburgh that I knew as opposed to the very polished version that you can sometimes get in fiction, I still don't think that I will be carrying on with this series. I think it's maybe one of those ones that if I happen to see that the next book in the audiobook series is available at my library on like the skip the line or when I'm browsing or stuff, I might pick it up if it's immediately available and I feel like it, but it's definitely not something that I'm going to prioritise. I'm going to say series complete. Not because I have completed the series by any means, but because I have tried it. I enjoyed the first one, but for me the rest of them are just kind of whatever. Similarly, another series that is a very easy DNF for me, is a very easy like strike off this list, is the Dallargut Dream Department Store series. I tried the first book in this one, the Dallargut Dream Department Store, and it was fine. It was just aggressively fine. And so I have scratched this one off my list. This is just not one that I'm going to be reading the second one of. And thank you to everybody in my quarterly bingo board update video who told me that this was actually a companion book series, so that I could put it on my series tracker and take it back off my series tracker. Actually, as soon as I had finished that video, I worked out that that was the case. I still don't think I'm going to add it to my finished series on my series tracker, even though technically if I've DNF'd it, I have finished it, because I wasn't aware at the time when I was calculating my numbers. I don't want to confuse myself more than anything else. Next up, another really sad one that I did also mention in that video is the House at the Edge of Magic series by Amy Sparks. This was a middle grade series which was really heavily marketed to me by a few friends who thought that I might enjoy this series because I had been kind of just lamenting the fact that I don't have very many middle grade series that spark the joy, that spark the magic, that want me to keep continuing with them again and again and again. So if you guys have any suggestions for me, I would really like that. Can you hear how croaky my throat has gone? I can't believe that we've got this far through the spreadsheet. I feel like we've literally bossed it this time. Okay, so this for me is going to be a series DNF, and again, I am gutted about it, but it just do be what it be. And the next one for me is also a series DNF. I am less gutted about this one. So this is the Neapolitan novels by Elena Ferrante, which of course are a quartet of literary fiction novels which everybody knows about and everybody who is into literary fiction has tried. And I tried the first one years and years ago and was like, nah, it's just not for me, I don't want to put in the legwork. And then it came up on my library again, and then I read the first sort of like third of it again, and I was just like, no, your initial reaction, your initial instinct was a good instinct. You should just avoid at all costs. Oh, so the next one is an interesting one. The next one is the Enchanted Tree series by Enid Blyton, which is a middle grade, like very classic children's series that I read when I was little. And I reread the first book because one of my lovely friends brought out a yarn collection that was inspired by this series again, and it got the nostalgia kind of bubbling over, and so I reread the Enchanted Wood and it was a good time. But I have actually read this entire series several times when I was younger, and I don't feel any need to kind of like go back and read the rest of it. It was very much just a nostalgic dipping my toe back in, so I'm just going to put that one back to series complete and not think about it again. This spreadsheet definitely does not contain all of my childhood series and all of the things that I have read previous to, like, I don't know, maybe like 2013 or something when I started tracking my reading. And I only add series back to it like this if I've picked up a book in it again and I thought, oh, maybe I will like return to this series. The last two on this part of our spreadsheet, can you believe it, are The Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer and the Veronica Speedwell series by Deanna Rayburn. So I am currently reading The Assistant to the Villain series, so I'm going to mark that one as read because I will have finished that by the time that I've finished editing this video. And for right now, I'm having a good time, so I'm going to mark that one as a series ongoing, and with the premise that I am going to come back to it and pick up the second one. And then finally, something that I have purchased, something that I have almost all of on my shelf. 5, 6, 7. I have 7 out of the series on my shelf. We have the Veronica Speedwell series. I have read the first 2 books in this series and I absolutely adore it. It is amazing, and yet for some reason I keep just like dumping it at the bottom of my list again and not coming back to it. I have just abandoned it and I haven't gone back to it, and I don't know why. I literally don't know why, and I need to rectify it. That one's not one that is actually reasonable in any way. There's no reason why I haven't prioritised this. So up next to Lower Olympus, I think I have to add this one in. Can you believe it? We've actually got to the end of that spreadsheet. That was so fast. Okay, so before we do any kind of counting up numbers, I am first going to take the filter off, and I am specifically going to look and see on my spreadsheet if I have the Anita Blake series listed. I do. I couldn't remember if this is one of the series that I had added in way back at the start in my first series tracker spreadsheet video or not. However, the same lovely friend who got me to read the D.I. Kalanach series and who got me to read the Faraway Tree series mentioned to me that she absolutely loved the Anita Blake series back in the day. Like me, it was one of those gateway to urban fantasy books that I had way back in the day, and we talked about it off and on for a while, and then we decided that we were going to do a reread of this series. I don't know why I have done this to myself. I will say I read Guilty Pleasures and I had a great time. There are definitely things that are laughable in this series now, looking back at it, things that I'm like, oh, why? And there are some attitudes in it which are obviously like very outdated because these were published in the 90s, but I still had a great time. Now, as you will see as I go along here, I did get as far as Narcissus in Chains, and then I DNF'd Cerulean Sins, and I never went any further on with this series, but I never picked up any of the other ones in this series, and we're now, this is I think the longest, okay, maybe the second longest, because the Fruit Basket series that I also DNF'd has multiple things, but the next comparable to that on this spreadsheet looks like it is the Realm of the Elderlings books, which are of course 18 books long. This one is 23 books long when I stopped cataloguing it on my spreadsheet. So there's absolutely no way, there is no way that I will be rereading that many. I will only be rereading as many as makes my brain happy, and then I will move it back to a series complete again. Alright, so once again, for our count, let us choose any blanks that I may have missed, any series ongoing, and oh, I'm scared. We have got 27 series. 27 series out of like, what was that, like 53 or something we started this spreadsheet with? I could cry. That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. I can't believe that's where we're at. From the first time that I did this spreadsheet, you guys, from the indecision at the start of this spreadsheet. Now there will be series that will get added back. There will be more series that I add on here that I end up rereading and they get thrown on, or series that I just start and I end up loving them. This will grow again, but I'm really, really proud of myself with how I've chipped away at this and at where we are right now. Whew! Well, there we go. Somehow we are at the end with chapped lips and a serious truth, as we would say here in Scotland. I'm so thirsty. After the stress of going through that list with you guys, I cannot believe that that is the amount that we managed to get into. I am so proud of myself. So if you got this far through the video, then I don't know, I feel like you need to leave me one of my favourite emojis, because I feel like I accomplished a lot today. Leave me a pumpkin emoji down in the comments. Please also let me know down in the comments below if you count your series. How many series are you currently reading right now? If you are not someone who suffers from the multiple series reading at the same time affliction, then tell me your secret down below. I aspire to be you one day. Don't forget that if you would like to check out the sponsors of today's video, Serious Readers, then you can use my code here on screen, WIN, that's WINN, and my link down below in the description box to get £150 off of your very own Serious Readers Serious Light and free UK shipping. If you are new to my channel and this is your first introduction to me, I'm so sorry, but please stick around. There will be more spreadsheets in the future, so I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button. And for all of my dedicated returning viewers whose favourite this video is, would you please hit that like button on the way out of the door, because it really does help my channel. And I will see all of you guys again in a far less stressful video really soon. Bye!